Hey Aggies, need to get to Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth Metro, Austin, San Antonio, or other cities? Ditch the bus and try Hitch to book a guaranteed car ride. Hitch, comfy, safe, and affordable daily rides between Texas cities. As an official transportation provider, Hitch even has pickup locations right on campus. Download the Hitch app or visit ridehitch.com. Enter the code Aggieland for 30% off your first 4 rides. That's ridehitch.com. Welcome back, everybody, to the Home Turf Podcast. It's me, Hunter Mitchell, joined here with my co-host, Cade Harris, and it is an exciting episode today.
Football season is back.
Football, college
More
football.
specifically, yes, college football.
College football is back. Our first true Texas A&M college football episode of the season. Super excited to be back.
Oh, yeah. I'm so ready for week 1.
Yeah.
Got the New Mexico Lobos coming into town, and yeah, it's not a big opponent, but I still just can't wait to watch the team get out there on the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to get back in Kyle, get back and just football season's just so beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Just waking up, watching college game day, and then getting ready for those 11 a.m. games.
Making breakfast, watching Southern Cal play. Well, actually, no, they won't play early in the morning. Watching Alabama play Middle Tennessee State and stuff. Watching and catch an FCS game early on this season, that kind of thing. Man, you just miss it.
Yeah, you're a big Incarnate Word proponent, aren't you?
Yeah, that's my. Before we even get into talking about A&M football, that's my FCS champion prediction is Incarnate Word.
Caleb Chapman and Zach Calzada are going to hold it down.
I think Zach Calzada takes them to the promised land. Connor McQueen at offensive coordinator, Kenny Hill, associate head coach. It's like the Incarnate Word Aggies over there.
Yeah, definitely hope they find some success this year.
Yeah, they're my not even sleeper pick. They're easily, I think they win.
You think they beat UTEP week 1?
I think they definitely have a shot.
Right.
I mean, Jacksonville State was FCS last year, and they just went over the UTEP and smoked them. So
it could happen.
And I think if Jacksonville State, because Jacksonville State was really good FCS football team, but I don't think if they were there now, I don't think they'd be a top 10 FCS team right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the Jacksonville State roster.
I don't know how hot of a take that is, but I mean, college football's back. We had our battalion sports desk college football fantasy draft yesterday. Super excited for that. I think I've got a killer squad.
Let's hear it.
I think I've got a killer squad. So, starting quarterback, Michael Penix Jr. from Washington. I got Quinshon Judkins at running back, huge. Jermaine Brown Jr. from UAB is my other running back. My wide receiver group, I've got a really solid group that I'm cycling out. So right now I'm starting Zachariah Branch and Joshua Cephas. I got Antoine Wells in there. I think that's super solid. Tight end, easily got the best tight end pick.
Yeah.
That was a huge steal.
I hate that Judkins and Bowers both fell to you.
The fact that no one picked him up was criminal. Brock Bowers at my tight end. Right now, for my flex, I got Will Shepard from Vandy. May swap that out. Because, I mean, I've got a really solid wide receiver group on my bench, too. I got Brew McCoy, Malik Neighbors, Jaheim Bell. 2 backup quarterbacks. I'm probably going to try to use one as trade leverage because I think I've got 2 really good ones. But I don't think I need 3. I've got Jalen Daniels and Sam Hartman, but I'm really still up in arms about starting Penix or Hartman.
Yeah, I mean that's just gonna be like a week-to-week matchup.
Yeah, I have my own personal quarterback battle.
Yeah,
and I think Jalen Daniels, as much as I like him, he may pop off and be like my sleeper. One of my 3 quarterbacks, I'm going to try to use as trade leverage later on. Probably
I might be interested in that.
I don't know who for. My defense is Clemson.
It's a pretty good one. Yeah, well, I think everyone's gonna like my quarterback.
My week 1 opponent sitting across from me.
Yes, well, that is crazy that we got matched up week 1. Me versus Hunter week 1. But yeah, my quarterback, I took him because everyone in the draft was taking all the A&M receivers, and I at least wanted one A&M player on my team. So I was like, you know what? I'm taking Connor Wigman. Connor Wigman's my quarterback. I took Jordan Travis as a backup, but I
I
think
would
I think I'm starting Wigman this week since
really.
he's facing New Mexico. Travis is facing LSU. I just feel like I like the matchup better.
The
And
problem with that is if everyone picked up A&M wide receivers and you picked up starting quarterbacks, so that means if Wigman starts doing good, most likely whoever you're playing is going to have someone who's doing pretty good too.
yeah, probably, but that's okay. And then at the running back positions, I took Braylon Allen from Wisconsin, and
Solid.
then I took Rasheen Ali from Marshall. I don't know much about him, but playing in that conference, he's going to be racking up points. So
Yeah,
hopefully that. And then receivers, I got Luther Burden,
solid.
Marvin Harrison,
That's really good.
and Jalen McMillan from Washington. And then I also took Jace McClellan from Alabama, running back.
That's good.
Yeah, and then my
Solid.
tight end is Benjamin Urasek from Stanford. And then
See how that
go
shapes up.
down towards the bench, I got Nichols Harbor. He's listed as a wide receiver and tight end, so I could put him in any of those positions. Later on, I took Marshawn Lloyd from USC, and yeah, all the other players are just from like Georgia Southern, Boise State, Northern Illinois. I'm not sure anyone's gonna really know those names right now, but yeah, and then I have the Illinois defense.
Yeah, I mean, man, we had some really solid picks. Got a few people who went absolutely just off the cuff. We had Frank Gore Jr. drafted third,
Second overall.
second overall.
Yeah,
That's right, he
Ian
was
Ian took him
second.
second overall.
Yeah, we've had some absolutely crazy stuff going on here. Super excited for the college football season. That being said, we'll hop right into talking about A&M's game against New Mexico. Um, so just to start, I mean, just in general, keys to the game. What do you think for week one, New Mexico? What do you think? What are you looking to see?
I guess I mean, what everyone's looking to see is what does the offense look like? I don't think they're gonna be showing too much against the Lobos because
Hmm.
you don't have to.
Yeah.
But I think you're definitely gonna be able to tell a difference in the offense from last year and the offense for this year. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that, and I'm looking forward to see all the like rotation on the defensive line, I guess as well. Who's getting in there and who's making plays.
Yeah, I think my like main key for this game is a not getting ahead of themselves. Not let's just get through New Mexico, then we got to go to Miami, that kind of thing, and just not letting the game get with that, not like putting so much pressure on yourself that they begin to like crack. I think with all the every single year, even saying this is a broken record, that every single year there's always hype. I just want everyone to go out there and just play football. Don't
Yeah, and I think they will. I mean, I don't think they're gonna have too much pressure on them. Playing New Mexico, and like you said, they could be looking ahead though. I mean, I think they might have learned that lesson from last year. Like, I've heard Jimbo talk about it in the press conference that they it looked like they were looking ahead to opponents during last year, and that might have been why you lost to App State. So, but we'll see. I don't think they'll be under any pressure, and I honestly think the whole team's just gonna be so excited to get out there and just play because of everything that transpired last season.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll go out there, and I mean, new quarterback. It will eventually become a night game at Kyle. It starts at 6,
Yeah,
but eventually, probably by like third quarter, like fourth quarter, get the lights at Kyle kind of going and getting that feel, getting that vibe. Season coming back. Yeah, I just hope they don't come out rusty, and I hope they don't come out too stiff. I hope they play loose. I hope they get out there and just have fun playing football. That's what I want to see because it looked like last year it was a lot of like there was a lot of pressure on them. They started losing, and then I think the LSU game it really looked like they flipped a switch, and it was like
they played with an attitude of who cares.
yeah, I don't necessarily want them to play with house money like they did like against LSU, but I would like to see them. I would like to see them play like a more I don't know if fun's the word
Just
style of
loose.
football.
They need to
Yeah.
play loose.
Yeah, just don't fall victim to the pressure. Don't fall victim to the hype. Just go out there.
Do
You're
you?
you're playing a game. You're at the end of the day, it's football. It's not. You're not going and talking to the Supreme Court. You're not on the United States Senate. Um, you know, you're just playing the game. So go out there and play the game. Have fun, enjoy yourself, be competitive. Live in the moment. The students, the fans are all behind you. You're gonna have,
A
yeah,
rocking intro from what I've
yeah,
heard from
exactly.
the
So
players saying. So
so don't look ahead, but also just like enjoy the game is really what I'm looking for them. Especially with all of our uh, new and returning offensive weapons that I think are really supposed to be clicking for this game.
yeah, I hope so. I mean, the receiving core that's coming back is it can be elite. Like it could be
Yeah.
up in the top of the SEC come the end of the season, and I'm very excited to see what they can do, especially against a weaker defense like New Mexico. So yeah.
Yeah, I think on the offensive side of the ball, I know all eyes are on Connor Wigman.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, we've seen what he can do, and I mean, if he continues that kind of production, then I'm like he's a really solid quarterback. I think that he is a game changer. I think he makes a lot of plays that otherwise wouldn't happen with any other quarterback in there. What I'm really interested to see is not even the wide receiver group. I'm bought in on as well. I want to see who is coming out of the backfield and replacing Devon A. Chain.
Yeah, I mean I think you will see all three guys out there this week, and not just in the second half. I think you'll see them all in the first half. I would think so,
Yeah,
because I mean you have three really solid options in Amari Daniels, who when he's gotten out there on the field, that guy has been electric. Like he's made plays. His running is nice, and then Le'Veon Moss, who I mean he this guy was committed to Alabama at one time. That
yeah,
I feel like that's really like all you need to hear to be pretty convinced about that guy. And then you have a 5-star freshman coming in, Ruben Owens, who I mean, this guy has potential to be, one of the premier backs in the SEC at the end of his career. Like,
yeah.
so I mean, you have three really solid options. It's just how it's all going to mesh together, and because I feel like all three of them are very similar in a way.
I feel like they all. I feel like they all bring something to the table that is. They all kind of complement each other well. Um, and this is a little contradictory to what I've said in the previous podcast. I don't necessarily want all season. I mean, if it works, it works. But like a three back rotation, I would definitely like a two back rotation for sure. I mean, and then a third in there occasionally. Like I'm not saying like never use a third running back, but I like to see a really good speed back. Like I know Amari Daniels has shown really good flashes of speed. Ruben Owens obviously as well in that spring game. He has really good. He has really good lateral movement. This is one thing I noted in the spring game when I covered it. And then Le'Veon Moss, I feel like really delivers the boom. I think he's a really good running through the trenches kind of back. Break through the linebackers. Slip a tackle here and there, and then um, get just constant, consistent, solid yardage. I think is really what I'm looking for him. But he's got sneaky speed too. I think they've all got really good speed. Of course, like, they're not. We're not looking for anybody to replace Devon A. Chain speed. That's a generational
Yeah,
speed.
that's something that you just can't replace overnight.
Yeah. But I would like to see who emerges as that RB1.
Yeah.
Um. And even RB1A and RB1B.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
who's gonna be those guys, because I mean that's the really the one position this offseason that hasn't been solidified now. Even quarterback's been solidified.
Yeah, at least on the offense, I would say. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't really know who the starting corners are going to be yet, and I mean,
I think we have a good idea. I mean,
yeah,
um,
but I mean, yeah, Tyreek Chappelle is probably your number one corner, and
yeah,
then I mean after that, I feel like everything else is like the running back room. Like you have a lot of options, but who's going to be the starter? Who's going to stand out above the rest?
yeah. And I think offensively, that's and offensive line, I'm really
Yeah.
interested to see. I think with all the negativity last year, surrounding the quarterback position and the offense, I think what gets overlooked is that offensive line didn't look really great last year. There was a lot of times where the offense simply couldn't get going because there wasn't enough protection.
Yeah, no, I think it was a pretty bad year for that offensive line.
Yeah, for an offensive line unit that was supposed to come in and be like at the beginning of last season was that they were hyped to be like the best unit on the team.
Yeah, but I feel like there was also a lot of factors against them. Trey
Yeah,
Zune playing with an injury the entire year, Bryce Foster out for pretty much the entire year, and then it just felt like you didn't get the same play that you've gotten in previous years from Layden Robinson and Deuce Fothery. That was interesting, but I liked the emergence of other offensive linemen such as Mark Naboo and Cam Dewberry, who I think would be solid options at either of those guard spots. But yeah, who's your so? I mean, I guess Jimbo he already said that Zune and Basantis are starting at the tackle spots this week.
hmm
But who do you think's starting along the line? You think it's going to go Zune, Basantis at tackles,
Dewberry.
Dewberry,
Yeah,
Layden at guard, and then Bryce at center?
yeah. I know he's been Jimbo. Jimbo's been hesitant about naming that starting center position, which worries me a little bit. I mean, again, I would say Bryce Foster because he's been, for all intents and purposes, the starting center for 2 years now. But like I said, last year on and off, I know like it's been not easy sledding getting him in there in the spring. But at the end of the day, I do think he starts at center. Um, and yeah, I think obviously Layden Robinson, 5th year senior, I think he's probably going to be like the biggest X factor on that line. I think like how he performs. I know it's usually the center that's like the quarterback of the offensive line, but I feel like with his experience and his like how many games he's played and on all that, I think he will really be like the true X factor on that offensive line.
Yeah, I agree. If like Layden can get back to the Layden from 2 years ago, I think this offensive line will be in some good shape.
Yeah, and I mean if they can just get back to, I mean, got a little spoiled with that Maroon Goon line from 2020. That
Definitely.
that like all senior offensive line with I feel terrible. Kenyon Green.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that offensive line, that was, ah, man,
Dominant.
that was a
Just
monstrous
dominant, man.
offensive
I
line.
wish I wish we could have seen more of Devon A Chain running behind that offensive
Oh
line.
man, and with that, I could have passed for 100 something yards behind the offensive line.
You think so?
I
Against who? New Mexico?
I think against anybody I would have thrown for at least 150 against Alabama with that offensive line,
Okay.
dude.
Okay.
Man, all you gotta do is throw screen passes, and they're out there just like just laying the wood, just on pulling tackle, just boom, kind of. That I think so. I'm not saying I wouldn't throw any interceptions. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying I'm gonna be perfect. I'm not gonna be Drew Brees out there, or Tom Brady throwing for 6 touchdowns, But like, I think like just throwing a few like screens, a few quick slants. I think I could. I think like once I get the timing down some of the slants, I think I can zip them out there.
You'll have plenty of time.
A few tight end drag routes. I think I could. By the end of the game, I could amass at least 100 something yards.
I would have just handed it off to Spiller and A Chain for you at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, how hard could being quarterback in Division 1 college football even be?
All right.
So on the defensive side of the ball, um, I mean, you mentioned the cornerback situation. I don't know if it's situation is even the right word. I mean, is it a situation when you have so many options to choose from that you can't pick?
Yeah, well, I hope that's the situation. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess we really don't know. I'm sure the coaches know being in practice and everything like that, but I mean, these are all players that we really haven't been able to watch, been able to,
yeah,
make judgment about. I mean, you have Josh DeBerry, who is probably come in and impressed the most, I think, out of all the transfer cornerbacks.
yeah.
And then Tony Grimes out of UNC, the former 5-star. He, at one point was considering A&M during his recruitment.
Yeah,
So
I think it was between us and UNC, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah, he reclassified because I mean technically he left high school a year more than he should have, and so yeah, he was between UNC and A&M, and ultimately picked UNC, and then
Psych.
now he's here. And then you have Sam McCall, the Florida State transfer, who I mean I don't know too much about him.
Yeah,
He'll be a redshirt freshman this year or something. It's his second year, regardless.
yeah.
He came in. He was a freshman last year, and then am I missing anybody at that corner spot? I mean, you still have Deuce Harmon on your roster, who has shown to be
Yeah,
an okay option there at
I mean,
corner.
he had a decent showing last year, I'd say.
Deuce.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played a little bit
I mean, there was many times where he had to kind of fill a spot because,
of injuries
yeah.
and the flu and whatever else
I
plagued our
mean,
team
I
last
mean,
season.
you have some options. Like I know that there's still Bobby Taylor, who almost transferred out. Like our best recruiter.
Oh,
Um,
I forgot to mention. I should have mentioned Javon Thomas, the freshman from South Oak
yeah,
Cliff.
I've heard good things about him.
Yeah, he's looked pretty good in practices so far. So yeah, maybe he's another option.
Yeah, in terms of corner, I mean that's really your like solid options, and then that safety position's a really fun one. That safety and nickel.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, Bryce Anderson, I think has a chance to be elite and have a breakout season this year. He already showed in Game 3 last season against Miami that he has what it takes to, I mean, be at the top level in the SEC. And then obviously you have fifth year guy in Damani Richardson coming back, and then I'd like to see Jordan Gilbert take a step up as well.
Yeah, I feel like Jordan Gilbert is kind of a name that gets lost in the weeds sometimes when you're talking about that secondary group for A&M. But he's been shown to like really have like flashes of excellence, I think. And so yeah, I think if he kind of steps up into that role and embraces that a lot more, um, he's kind of more of your true safety. I would say Bryce Anderson plays the nickel really well. I think that he's kind of like, he lays the wood really well. He hits, dude, he hits so. I mean, he knocked Noah Thomas out of the spring game.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even get a chance to see all the Noah Thomas hype. I guess we'll just have to wait for Saturday. But
Yeah, I
man,
mean, he hits like a truck at that safety position. Reminds me a lot of. No, I'm not saying like his play is there yet, but a former safety of ours, Armani Watts, he was he was big on knocking you out of a game by knocking you on the ground.
yeah,
Um,
and hopefully maybe Bryce can pick up that turnover gene that Armani seemed to have as well. I
yeah,
mean, it seemed like he was always making a clutch interception at the end of the
won the
game.
Tennessee game, double
Tennessee game, he
overtime.
won the Arkansas game at
Hmm.
AT&T Stadium. Did he not intercept against UCLA at home as well? Maybe, I don't know.
To go back on that, but
Yeah,
I mean that's digging in the.
yeah, that is going back. But yeah,
Well, for us, I guess I don't know. There's probably some people that listen who's going back is like the '90s, but
yeah.
for us, it's like 2016,
Yeah, oh
2015.
man. Back in middle school, high school.
One thing I would like to see from the secondary a lot more this season is getting turnovers. I feel like it's something this as much as its A&M defense over past seasons has kind of been heralded. I think it's something we don't see a lot of and like haven't seen a lot of in recent years is just getting the ball.
Yeah, I think a lot of that this year, if it's going to happen, it's going to be forced by that defensive line. They're
Yeah.
just going to pressure the quarterback into throwing the ball super early.
And then to kind of round out that secondary unit is also freshman Bravian Rogers. But I think with how
Hmm.
deep that safety group is, I mean you've got pretty solid that's pretty solid set. I mean you got
I don't want to go also without mentioning Dalton Brooks.
yeah yeah
He during his time at Shiner, he has shown that he is. I mean, he was listed as an athlete in his recruiting profile, and that guy is an athlete.
dude. You know what I didn't realize at all, and I don't know. I watched the show. I didn't know he was on Friday Night Tykes.
Really?
Yes, him and his brother.
No way.
Yeah,
I need to go back and watch
Dude,
that
I
or
had
something.
absolutely no idea. I saw a TikTok. It was like Friday Night Tykes players. Where are they now? And I was like, and there's like Dalton Brooks, and I was like, no
What
way.
in the world?
I walks. I mean, I guess I didn't pay attention to the children's name in the show because most of the
You
time,
weren't thinking about future A&M
yeah,
players while you were watching that
yeah, I'm
show.
not watching that show and be like, man, that 8 year old is gonna be so good when
Yeah.
in 10 years, in a decade. No, I mean most of the time I'm looking at how crazy the coaches are, and but yeah, I mean I mean that the safety like secondary group is so deep. It's really seeing who will emerge
hmm
as like a as not like as more of like a leader complementary of Bryce Anderson and Delani Richardson. I think
hmm
those two safety positions
And
are
Tyreek Chappelle,
yeah. Yeah, I think those three players are kind of your leaders of the secondary.
definitely.
I want to see who rises to the occasion, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of see who gets out there first on Saturday.
Yeah, and then of course we get to that line. I mean,
Oh man.
dude, you want to talk about a crapshoot?
Yeah, but
That's
like,
a golden crapshoot.
yeah, exactly. And it's you can throw out anybody out there, and it seems like they're gonna get the job done.
Yeah, you throw a rock and like close your eyes and toss a dart at a board at any of these offensive or any of these defensive linemen.
Yeah, I want to see um, you know, a lot more pressure off the edge this
Yeah,
season. So I'm glad that Fidel Diggs is back from injury. I think he's gonna have a good year. And then I'm also just excited to see how Shamar Stewart does as well.
I think that like with obviously all the talk with the offensive line goes immediately to the 2021 class. You got like 4 or 5 5-star defensive linemen, that thing. But I think that the most underrated aspect of this defensive line is the older players.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Like
McKinley
McKinley
Jackson,
Jackson, like you mentioned, Fidel
Isaiah
Diggs,
Rakes,
yeah, Isaiah
Albert
Riggs.
Regis,
Yeah, I think like I think there's a lot on this
Shamar
line.
Turner.
Exactly. I think that a lot of the production from this line that you'll see is going to be from those older guys, I think.
Definitely. I mean, there's just gonna be so much rotation. I feel as well, and
Yeah, which I mean can be a good thing because I mean guys aren't getting tired,
oh
but
yeah,
also like I would like to see a little more like solidified. I would like to see more than just three down linemen first off.
definitely.
But that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, you got Walter Nolan, you got Shamar Stewart, like you said, and then you got. I mean, just go. The list goes on and on. You got Nye White, DJ Hicks comes in.
That
Um,
he could play into
yeah,
it.
he could play. I mean, LT
Malik
Overton.
Silla.
Yeah, like it's just like, dude.
It is an abundance of
Again,
studs on that defensive line.
yeah, you could close your eyes, grab 4 random dudes, and throw them anywhere at any team in the country, and that's a starting defensive line.
I hope we can see Gabriel Brownlow Dindy on Saturday.
That's a name we didn't mention, but from what I've heard and from what I saw at the spring game, he has really, really looked solid in the
Yeah,
spring.
that dude is a large dude,
He
and
is
he was.
he is a
There's a
very
reason why
big
he
human
was.
being.
There's a reason why he was ranked so high in during his recruitment as well.
Yeah, that is a very large human being. 6'3", 300 pounds.
Man,
And now it's still technically only a freshman. Because he redshirt last year with the
yep.
injury. So I mean, it's a lot of Aggie football stuff is a broken record. I mean, the only thing you want to see more from that defensive line, I think this kind of goes into more of the trusting your secondary, not stacking the secondary so much. With kind of some of the experience you have there in the backfield, in that deep in that secondary, playing more 4 down linemen so you can get better run protection. I think that's kind of what was confusing a lot last year. So I think if we're getting, I mean, you cycle in any 4 of those defensive linemen we just named, and like again, that's no matter who it is,
hmm
that's one of the best defensive lines in the SEC, if not the country.
Yeah, most definitely. And then I also feel like like you mentioned, the run. I feel like linebackers is something that I'm also really paying attention to on Saturday. Edrin Cooper and you know,
Yeah.
who's gonna step up and be that other linebacker. I don't know. Could be Tarion York. Could be Chris Russell. I
I
mean,
mean,
I'd like to see Martrell Harris kind of step up and have a good year as well. I feel like he was a little underrated. Uh, Coming out of the Woodlands, he didn't play very much football in high school, and but yeah, I had high hopes for him coming into A&M. So, but yeah, it just depends on
and then
who's thrown out there. We'll see.
name you didn't mention, JD Davis.
Oh yeah, the Jackson State transfer.
So
Yeah,
I think I think there is I know like linebackers always is like probably the weakest position on defense.
definitely.
But I think they have sneaky depth. I think that I think Chris Russell again last season, despite everything, looked had really good flashes. I think he looked really solid and he made a lot of really good plays. Edrin Cooper is a guy I've been high on since he started playing. I think he plays really downhill. He's a I feel like he's kind of an old school style of linebacker. He's like, blitz through the A gap, light up a running back kind of guy, you know, chase you down on a swing pass and drop you for a 2 yard loss kind of linebacker. Um, and I think from what little we've seen of him, Torian York really impressed me in that spring game. He was flying around.
Hmm.
I mean, it felt like every other play his name was getting called because he plays with, from what we've seen so far, reckless abandon. And
Yeah,
like as a linebacker, that's the reckless abandon position. Linebackers should go home, their entire body's aching, like unable to move. Like linebackers, um, kind of have that reputation as being like the crazy guy on the
yeah,
defense, like the dude who's like can't play safety, but like also like has like good speed, but you don't want to put them down the line because they want to chase someone down and hit them in the open field.
yeah.
Like they want to rock a receiver hitting a slant route.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like part of that reason, like you mentioned, Tarian York plays like that is just because like I feel like he goes out there and he plays kind of with that, what I was talking about earlier, just like that, like not carefree, but he plays loose, like,
Hmm.
and he also plays with something to prove
Yeah.
because he was so underrated going back and looking at his recruiting profile and like extremely underrated. We flipped A&M flipped him from Baylor. He wasn't, recruited very highly by many schools. And then when you just go and you listen to his interview after he committed, like I don't know if you've listened to that, but that
Yeah,
that is
I
a
have.
solid interview. Like
He
that
was.
that got me fired up just to watch him on the field.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of recruits nowadays like as thankful for their commitment and their recruitment
Yeah,
as he was, and that like really kind of showed, I think, a good sign of his work ethic, which is kind of something I think this team was really looking to get someone who had that kind of mentality coming in, after
they
last
need it.
season, and
They need it.
had those guys transfer out after,
Those
locker,
guys.
yeah, those guys, those who should not be named, and shall not be named by the schools they were also kicked off of again. But I mean, I think that like kind of mentality of like I'm grateful to be playing a game. Like to keep playing the game that I love is something that may get lost nowadays. But I think that like it's super like as a player and like as a fan, um, it's just one that I think I would really like lean into and embrace. And so I like to see it from him, and I like to see how that linebacker core performs. I think they'll be a lot better than people think they were with J.D. Davis. I think Edrin Cooper's a guy I've always enjoyed. I think Tarian York. I think Chris Russell too. Um, like you mentioned, Martrell Harris as well. I think it's a really solid, like sneaky solid group. We'll just kind of have to see who's out there. Um,
Yeah,
but I mean, it may be like that defensive line where they cycle them in and out too.
could
Um,
be.
I think the defense is going to maybe surprise a lot of people, which sounds strange because I mean that is right now the unit that everyone's really high on. But I think they could be even better than how good people think they can be.
Yeah, I think the key is just staying healthy.
Exactly. So now we covered that. Now we'll get into week 1, New Mexico. What is your final score prediction?
It's hard to like predicting the
Ooh.
40s after just like, but I'm going to. Uh, I think it's gonna be around like 48 to 10. 48 to 10.
Dude, that's weird. That's super close to my prediction actually. Take 3 points from your score and add it on to New Mexico's score.
45-13.
I'm 45-13. I knew New Mexico had the second worst offense in the entire FBS last year, only ahead of UMass. But I mean, I think they're going to be a lot better than 2-10 this year. I'll just tell for all the New Mexico fans I know we have listening. Um, they're going to be a lot better than 2-10. I
The
think.
transfer
Yeah,
receivers that they got in
they
and
have
transfer quarterback Dylan Hopkins,
they got like 5 transfer
they're definitely
receivers.
going to have a better offense than they had last season, which really isn't saying much.
Yeah,
But still.
and then got UAB's offensive coordinator too.
Yes.
Brought over wide receiver, quarterback. They're going to be a lot better, and I think that maybe one of those touchdowns, one touchdown, 2 field goals. I feel like they may get 2 field goals kind of first half, and then maybe a garbage time touchdown at the end when the backups are in. I think is my prediction, but I wouldn't even be surprised to see like 21-45. Um, I mean, give up a few garbage time touchdowns maybe, or maybe even like 16.
Right.
Um, like it's beginning of the year. I mean, it's hard to scout someone, especially when you can't even scout last year's team because they're entirely new. New
Hmm.
offense, new wide receivers, new quarterback. Like you can't scout that. So I think they may catch A&M by surprise here and there. Or they may not, and it may be like 3 or 0.
Could be like a 56 to nothing game.
Yeah, like you said, week one is so hard to to judge.
Oh yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it's 3. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 16.
Yeah.
If you're an Aggie fan, I wouldn't put too much stock into like 16 points from New Mexico. Don't let that freak you out. It's week one.
Exactly.
Um,
You should not be taking, too many judgments away from week 1.
do not put much stock into week one.
Exactly.
Week one is essentially for all intents and purposes, college football preseason.
Basically.
Um, obviously a lot more at stake here, but that is our players to watch and keys to the game and predictions for New Mexico. Thank you for listening. My name is Hunter Mitchell.
Cade Harris.
Thank you for listening to the Home Tour podcast again, and we will catch you next time.